They persistently lifted their eyes towards the windows. One could hear little combats of opinion. "There's a light in the window." "No, it's a reflection from across the way." "Well, didn't I see him light it?" "You did?" "I did." "Well, then, that settles it." As the time approached when they expected to be allowed to enter, the men crowded to the doors in an unspeakable crush, jamming and wedging in a way that it seemed would crack bones. They surged heavily against the building in a powerful wave of pushing shoulders. Once a rumor flitted among all the tossing heads. "They can't open the door. The fellers are smack up agin 'em." Then a dull roar of rage came from the men on the outskirts. But all the time they strained and pushed until it appeared to be impossible for those that they cried out against to do anything but be crushed into pulp. "Oh, get away from the door. Get out of that. Throw 'em out. Kill 'em. Say, fellers, now what the hell? Give 'em a chance. Open the door. You damn pigs, give 'em a chance to open the door." Men in the outskirts of the crowd occasionally yelled when a boot heel of one of the trampling feet crushed on their freezing extremities. "Get off me feet, you clumsy terrier. Say, don't stand on me feet. Walk on the ground." A man near the door suddenly shouted, "Oh, let me out, let me out." And another man of infinite valor once twisted his head so as to half-face those who were pushing behind him. "Quit your shoving, yeah." And he delivered a volley of the most powerful and singular invective straight into the faces of the men behind him. It was as if he was hammering the noses of them with curses of triple brass. His face, red with rage, could be seen upon it, an expression of sublime disregard of consequences. But nobody cared to reply to his implications. It was too cold. Many of them snickered, and all continued to push. In occasional pauses of the crowd's movement, the men had opportunities to make jokes, usually grim things, and no doubt very uncouth. Nevertheless, they were notable. One does not expect to find the quality of humor in a heap of old clothes under a snowdrift. The wind seemed to grow fiercer as time wore on. Some of the gusts of snow that came down on the close collection of heads cut like knives and needles, and the men huddled and swore, not like dark assassins, but in a sort of American fashion, grimly and desperately. It is true, but yet with a wondrous under-effect, indefinable and mystic, as if it was some kind of humor, this catastrophe. In this situation, in a night of snow-laden winds. Once the window of the huge dry-goods shop across the street furnished material for a few moments of forgetfulness. In the brilliantly lighted space appeared the figure of a man. He was rather stout and very well clothed. His beard was fashioned charmingly after that of the Prince of Wales. He stood in an attitude of magnificent reflection. He slowly stroked his mustache with a certain grandeur of manner and looked down at the snow-encrusted mob. From below there was denoted a supreme complacence in him. It seemed that the sight operated inversely and enabled him to more clearly regard his own delightful environment. One of the mob chanced to turn his head and perceived the figure in the window. "Hello, look at his whiskers," he said genially. Many of the men turned then, and a shout went up. They called to him in all strange keys. They addressed him in every manner, from familiar and cordial greetings to carefully worded advice concerning changes in his personal appearance. The man presently fled, and the mob chuckled ferociously, like ogres who had just devoured something. They turned then to serious business. Often they addressed the stolid front of the house. "Oh, let us in, for God's sake. Let us in, or we'll drop dead. Say, what's the use of keeping us poor Indians out in the cold?" And always someone was saying, "Keep off my feet." The crushing of the crowd grew terrific toward the last. The men, in keen pain from the blast, began almost to fight, with the pitiless whirl of snow upon them. The battle for shelter was going to the strong.